Welcome back to another episode of the Casey Campbell podcast. Casey Campbell with you, of course. We are pleased to be joined by the one and the only, I don't know why we keep getting him on, but Matt Tifft is here.
It's going to shut down sometime if you keep putting me on this show, bud.
We always have to joke around with you because, of course, you are who you are. But anyway, the reason why we wanted to have you on is, of course, because of your announcement yesterday. Of course, it's been 6 months. So you've been seizure free, and I know that's been a big deal for you and everything like that. What's it been like to these past 2 years of just, what have you had to deal with?
It's weird, right? Because it starts off with a lot of people don't realize, they go, oh, Matt Tift's not driving a race car, blah, blah, blah. Well, I haven't driven the street car. Like that day at Martinsville, I haven't been on the road since then. Like that's a long, 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 long time. That's October 26th of 2019. Like that is a long time ago in the scope of the world and the scope of everything that's happened. So it's been very difficult because, in the beginning, the first year was very tough because I really felt like I lost a lot of my independence. I had the countdown clock always on my phone of when I was going to get to 6 months. Like there's always I have to get to this point now. So I didn't have much patience. So I would literally sit there and, just try to count down the days and the hours and just like waste a day, sleep in, doing nothing. Of course, during the quarantine, so everybody's doing that, but like just literally trying to go like, okay, cross another day off the books and like, let's just get to 6 months. And so I was wasting a lot of time. And which was depressing. And of course, I didn't know where the career and stuff was going. And so it was just a shitty time. Like it was just, It sucked. And so then I get to 3 months, then I have a seizure. Then I get to maybe a month out from there and then have one. It's just like the clock just kept on resetting. And not only was it demoralizing because I was wondering what was happening, I wasn't getting answers yet until, I did that study over the summer, but at the same time, you're going, okay, well, yeah, I had a seizure. Okay. But the problem was every time I did it, the 6 month clock would start over again. And you just keep on doing it. And it's just like, all right, how long is this going to, like, am I ever going to go drive another streetcar? Like it was bad. There's one, I think from my second seizure, which is on my honeymoon, in December of 19 to, is it April or May of 20. I made it like almost 5 months. I'm like, okay, here we go. Like it's gonna happen. Like we're gonna get there. Then I had one. And so that was the longest stretch that I had without having one up until this point. And basically the problem became, there wasn't answers. There wasn't a clear treatment plan. So that's when I went to University Hospitals in Cleveland. I went to the Upper Cervical Spine Center down here in Charlotte and found a lot of things messed up with my spine from crashes and other things that really put a toll on my body. Not even crashes, but just, things that could have been messed up as a kid, concussions, things like that. So it really was an eye-opening deal to the treatment of the response of the medication, but also I realized that I had a lot of neurological things going on wrong from concussions, from crashes, from G-forces all the time, that I probably just didn't do a good enough job while I drove all those years of keeping up with it. I tried to stay very fit and I did a lot of things, but maybe there's one hit that did it. I don't know. And I'm not blaming anything on it. It's just like, I clearly just don't have a clear answer of what the picture was that painted this entire thing to come up. But that was the problem with the whole first year, is like, I've lost my freedom. And then at the same time, we're in the middle of coronavirus, which is kind of nice in a way. I'm not saying anything about the disease was nice, but it was nice because other people were also stuck at home. All of a sudden I felt like I wasn't alone in being stuck.
Yeah.
So that gave me a little bit of a break. And again, nothing is to be taken lightheartedly about the whole COVID situation, but it was the first time I felt like other people were joining in my aloneness, which made me feel not alone, if that makes any sense. So moving past that, after a certain point last summer, I was like, you know what, screw it. I'm done counting. If I have one, I have one. If not, whatever. Like, because I just did that whole study and I just kind of accepted it. And so from that point on, like, the team was going on. I had a purpose again. We're coming out of like the main bit of quarantining. And so things are looking up and going well. I had 2 more little seizures, not big ones like before, but much, much smaller ones. So even in the last year, they've been gotten a lot better. Like it's been way, way better in the last year compared to the year before that. So even just in the amount of quantity and the strength of them, it was much better. So this was a big deal, man. Like it was getting to this point was hard. It was 2 years of trying to get to this point medically and learning what I can and can't do, mental, battles of anxiety and depression and all this sort of stuff that you just don't realize is going on when you lose that sense of freedom. And as I got more connected in epilepsy groups before I came out and announced it this year, I started to realize how much other people struggle with it. And that's kind of the timing when I came out with, opening up about my epilepsy and things going on. So one of the biggest things that was always cool on the subreddit of epilepsy was the 6-month seizure free mark of the year, or 2 years or 5 years, whatever. And everybody celebrated the crap out of that because it's so hard to get to. Because statistically, if you make it to that point, your probability goes a lot further down, at that point in time. So it was a huge deal. And it feels really good to be in the spot. The hardest part now, honestly, is like going back to driving doesn't feel hard. Like I never forgot how to drive. The hardest part is the mental battle of like just thinking, getting myself out of my own way with my thoughts, and it'll get back to normal. It'll be fine, but it's going to take a little bit to feel more normal again.
Yeah. So I know the first place you went to was, of course, the shop.
Sure was.
And then you went to where?
Oh, no. Well, technically, I was on the way to the shop, and I went to Culver's first.
You went to Culver's first. Nice.
I was hungry, man. I was getting food. I hadn't been through fast food like that in a while, so I was going to go.
Did you get cheese curds?
I did not get cheese curds because I can't do it.
Man.
Well, I trust me, I love cheese curds, but because of keto and epilepsy, I can't do it.
Oh, that's right. Of course.
But trust me, I absolutely love cheese curds. Don't get me wrong. They have some of the best cheese curds too.
Sam Mayer would be proud of you.
Hey, one thing I will say, I will not miss $1,100 average on my Uber and Lyft rides every month. I am so glad that is out of here because that sucked.
Well, you know what's also probably good? Your wife doesn't have to drive you.
Yeah, she played Mrs. Chauffeur for way too long of a time. So, like I said, it's just hard feeling. When you're a race car driver, you're very independent. I was always very independent. I like to do my own stuff. I like to get to the track and do things my own way. Do this, do that, do this, do that. Like I'm a big control freak, and not being able to do things, not being able to understand what was happening with my body, not understanding anything, not having control, it was psychological torture for me. So as much as I know she felt bad and stressed out by having to do that stuff for me and me taking more Uber and Lyft rides and all that kind of stuff, it was unbelievable torture for me just to be adapted to that. Because I couldn't get adapted to it because it's just not me. And so now I'm trying to fight back to the old me, which is good. But it's just it's a different deal.
Yeah. Besides that, I know you've done a lot of things. So what's been the biggest thing? Have you been practicing, going back out and just driving around just to, get reaccustomed to it again?
Yeah. Well, yesterday was my first day back on the road. Drove up to the shop, drove back down, and then drove out to, it was my mother-in-law's birthday, so we drove out to Gastonia. Jordan drove, and then I drove back. So I got a good hour and a half driving in yesterday. Yeah. Today was hilarious because I'm driving a Tesla because of all the safety features and stuff it has in it, which will protect me. But it was funny though, because right now, for those of you not in the Southeast, we're in an absolute lockdown of gas. You can't buy gas anywhere. It's in a complete lockdown. There's backups for 30 or 45 minutes to get gas because the pipeline shut down because a bunch of hackers got into it. So I'm driving around my Tesla. I'm like, that sucks.
Oh, that's awesome. That's great. Hey, I'm in Michigan, so I don't have to deal with it.
Yeah, right.
Actually, I just went and got gas today, so it was just
you're not affected by the Southeast deal, at least.
so I just just pulled right in, got right out, and then went on with my day. Picked up a slice of pizza for dinner, and then just
there you go.
Yeah, with that. So
like normal deal, not cyber hackers and stuff trying to break into gas pipelines, which apparently was very effective.
I guess when that kind of stuff happens, then who knows. So besides that, besides your announcement, there was also another announcement today with your race team. Kyle Tilley's going to be in the car for COTA, Watkins Glen, Road America, and the Indy Road Course. How exciting is that?
I'm pumped. Yeah, Kyle's an awesome dude to start off with. He gets along with BJ and me very well, and we're easy guys to get along with. But he just clicks right into the group. He's a badass race car driver. Just won in the LMP2 class, the Rolex 24 Hours of Daytona. I mean, there's not many higher honors than that. Has won a bunch of stuff in the Asian Le Mans series and things over there. So he's just such an accomplished driver. So very cool for us because we get to learn a lot as a team. Learning about our program, where we need to advance things. We know NASCAR is going in the direction of more road courses with this car with independent rear suspension and different schedules talked about and city courses talked about. Like we know there's going to be more diverse things that we're going to rather than just mile and a half in the current short tracks and stuff we go to now. So with that being said, you got to find a way to elevate your program and bring in someone like that who's raced prototypes and LMP2 cars. And the dude is nuts. He drives for fun Formula One vintage races. These are they are literal death boxes. Like they are the coolest cars in the world, but he is insane. Like the dude is insane, but he makes him the most badass race car driver ever. Like just the GoPro videos and stuff, like him showing it us. I think it was at Spa with one of those cars. I mean, my gosh, like just absolutely insane, like super, super cool. He knows a lot of very good, 80s bands and classic rock stuff, which I'm all about. So on many levels, it's very cool. On the professional side, Bremont, the chronometers, the watch company that's coming in that's been a supporter of his. I know they're big in Formula One and other prototype racing, the IMSA and things like that he's racing as well. It's cool to bring them in because whenever you have a big sponsor like that, and it's Kyle's sponsor, but of course they become a partner in Live Fast Motorsports in the family. And what's cool about it to me is we're going to Circuit of the Americas, right? It's a Formula One track that was built for that. NASCAR is going there for the first time. We're coming in there with a Rolex 24-hour winner in Kyle Tilley. And we're having a company coming on, as well as a sponsor, Bottle Associates there, which does a bunch of bottling services for different drink companies across the country. You bring in companies like that, not only are you getting somebody from a different discipline of racing and motorsport, but you're also bringing in sponsors that have not seen NASCAR before, that have not been a part of it. And that is really cool to me because not always do you get that crossover from a Formula One and a prototype and an IMSA and those sort of car sponsors into the NASCAR realm. So I think that's a very big deal for us to have brought that into the sport. But then another part, I think it really speaks volumes to Live Fast that someone like Kyle wants to come try out and see what NASCAR is all about. And just starting that relationship, man, it's a big deal. And it's going to help elevate our program. He's never driven a stock car before, so it's going to be a big learning weekend for him. The good thing is nobody's been to COTA before, other than a few practice laps, and he's raced there before. I think he's gotten some podium finishes there before. So it's also a track with a lot of runoff room in case he does make a mistake. So we'll be okay there. So it's just really exciting. And you get to do a lot of cool things. We get to do the Shane Globic deal at Bristol, and that was really fun. Unfortunately, got caught up in the crash there, but he was super fast there. We had Sky Hecker in the car at the Daytona Road Course. So we just had a cool, like, we try to keep it to where, it's not many drivers coming in now, but at the same time, when you have someone like those guys to come and elevate your program in the way that NASCAR is moving, this is a big deal for us. And it's, again, I couldn't have asked for a cooler, better dude to come drive the car. At the same point, from the professional side, it elevates our program and it makes it exciting all around.
Yeah, good stuff. You're not getting in the car for a while, right?
I mean, I can sit in the shop. No, I of course, when I announced the deal today, everyone's like, "Oh, Matt's gonna get back in the Cup car. I'd love to see you back in the Cup car." I'm like, guys, I just went up by 77 today, and that was kind of freaky. So let's pump the brakes a little bit. But no, I mean, honestly, would I love to jump in the race car again? Sure. Do I have a desire or a need to right now? No. So it's a never say never thing. You and I talked about this earlier today. I feel like it's something, if the cards fall and someday it happens, sure. I'm not opposed to, going back and testing a late model or something like that. Will it be now? Absolutely not. Could it be a year from now? Maybe. But what I talked to you about, which I think is something a lot of people don't realize, is even if my condition was something to where they said, "Hey, you can go back and drive a race car," I'm not mentally there. It takes, being an owner, of course, is one thing, and that's totally different. I'm just talking about from a pure mental standpoint of being a race car driver. You have to be so confident, so locked in, so psychologically sound to go out there and do what they do. It is an absolutely insane job. You're talking about moving at a football field per second. You can't think about anything else. So when you have that deal going on, anything that goes on in your mind where you're not confident in yourself or anything going on is a hindrance to yourself and the other people on the track and your team and everything. So it's not even just a health thing. It's I have to be ready thing. So doctors obviously have not cleared me to do anything yet, but even if they did today, which they have not, just make that clear, I would not feel like I don't want to right now. The owner deal right now, my focus is buying these next gen cars, going to the test at the end of the year, being able to go next year down to Daytona with our full fleet ready to go. And this is where Live Fast hits its stride. It's where we planned this whole deal to start, was with this next gen thing. This whole 2021 season has turned into a big learning year for us, because we needed to get our system together, our chemistry together, and everything there. But it's a good thing because we don't start behind the 8 ball when we get to Daytona. We're on par with everybody else because we're switching the car exactly the same time everyone else is. We have a charter. We don't have to worry about that. We have a car locked in. We can go to this thing and really elevate Live Fast to where we want to go with it. And it's going to be baby steps every year. We want to get eventually to where we're running, where we should be, which is at that point we feel like should be in top 25 range on short tracks and hopefully top 30 consistently on the big tracks. We're a little bit off of that right now and we need to fix things, but we have spurts in there. So we have to clean that part up for the second half of 2021, but going to 2022, nobody knows what happens. So maybe you jump up to running with the front rows and JTGs every once in a while. And some days you're going to be behind them. It's going to be an ebb and flow and a learning process for everybody. Maybe you get lucky and you have a top 15 run. Nobody knows in this deal, but that's what's exciting about it. And that's why, as owners, the parity that comes in with this is why we wanted to jump in. And it creates a really cool opportunity for us as owners to really jump in a big gap and a big bridge that's there right now with the wind tunnel testing and everything, to where we can have a shot to really accelerate our learning curve and our jump to the big teams. And I hope that's what happens. We know the big teams are always going to get there quicker, but there might be the couple races a year where we execute very well and it turns us into a very solid team. And that's where we want to be. And that's where we just try to keep our focus on.
Yeah. All right. Matt Tifft, thanks for joining us on big announcement. I can't say enough how proud I am of you because,
Thank you.
you've been through a lot, but you've also on a personal level, you've been an awesome friend to me over the years.
I appreciate that. Well, no, thank you.
All right.